benches. The world's not ready for it yet. They're
Yeah,
not ready,
real
they're not ready for
Hapkido.
1 through 60.
Check that. 1 through 30, you mean?
Okay, welcome back for lock 16 through 30. Mr. Tony, let's pick it up with lock number 15. Okay, from 15 to 16, what you're going to do is let go with the left hand. Your thumb is going to lock onto your partner's thumb, and your 4 fingers are going to lock onto your partner's wrist. Now I'm going to compress and squeeze and try to touch the thumb to the forearm. Okay, and you can see how it's touching from here. Okay, Mr. Tony's. Okay, welcome back for lock 16 through 30. Mr. Tony, we're going to pick it up with 15. From the 15, your inside wrist lock. You're going to take and release the left hand. Your thumb hooking onto your partner's thumb. Your 4 fingers hooking onto the wrist of your partner. What you're going to do is compress and squeeze together, trying to touch the thumb to the forearm. Now you can see how flexible Mr. Tony is. Let me borrow Mr. Bob for a second. Most people aren't that flexible. From the 15, I hook thumb to thumb, 4 fingers to the forearm. Now watch when I squeeze. See, it's very painful, very tight. Still has about another 2 inches to go. So if we squeeze with both hands, we could probably dislocate his thumb at that point. Okay, thank you, Mr. Tony. So in your series of locking, you have 15. When you go for the 16, if the thumb touches the forearm and you have not gotten a reaction out of your partner, that's why we move on for lock number 17. What we're going to do, now we're taking the right hand. We're going to release the wrist lock, and we're going to hook onto the pinky, the little finger of our partner. We're going to grab that, and what we're going to do is twist and turn that away from the thumb and the forearm, right where it's touching. We're going to turn it away. As we do that, we're going to push it up into his armpit. Now watch the reaction we get. See, now it's very painful, okay? What's causing the pain? If your partner is so flexible that the thumb touches, it's the little finger that's causing the pain. So now we're going to move on to the 18. So from the 17, it's not the thumb causing pain, it's my right hand that's twisting the little finger that's causing pain. So what he's going to do is reach up, grab the wrist, and he's pulling that off, you see? Now he doesn't feel the lock that's up here. But once he grabs the wrist and pulls off, he's giving us the next lock. Okay? I'm not doing. Okay, now like I said, when the partner reaches over and grabs the wrist and pulls that off the little finger, he's giving us lock number 18. What we're going to do is we're going to release half of the 17. We're going to go to that arm. That's his left arm. We're reaching over and we're going to peel that off. Now how we do this is we're putting our thumb inside the web of the hand, in between the index and the thumb. We're pushing in. We're reaching across with the 3 small fingers, grabbing onto his knife edge. And with a small turn, it's freeing our wrist from inside of his grip. Okay, let's watch it again. Okay, he reaches up and pulls off the little finger. We peel this off. That's the half of our 18. Okay, we have the wrist under control from here. You can see how the thumb is pressing inside the web of the hand. We're going to take our right hand this time, and we're going to pull it on the inside of his elbow. The reason for that is we want his arm bent. Okay, sometimes this is called an S lock, because the view, you see, it looks like the letter S. Now why we do the S lock, let me get him to straighten out his arm. From here it's very tight. Okay, from the shoulder to the wrist is very straight. If I put pressure on it, he could probably withstand the pressure from there. But once I bend his elbow, okay, I just disrupted his chi flow. Now watch when I put a little pressure, you see? Just a little tiny pressure and it's dropping him down to his knees. Okay, let's look at that again. When he reaches out and pulls off, release the grip. Okay, let's look at that again. He reaches up, he pulls off. Left hand releases our right. Immediately, the right hand goes to the inside of the elbow and bend his arm. You've got to have his arm shaped like the letter S. See how I have a tight grip onto his hand? And my index finger, I like to keep the index finger straight. The reason for this gives me a guide. I know which way to turn his wrist at this point. So you can see the L shape of my hand, looks like a gun. I'm going to turn and point that. By the time my index finger is pointing into his face, he should feel the lock. Okay, so watch from here. You can see the index finger, so I'm going to start to turn it right there. As soon as I get the index pointing at his face, he's feeling the pain, he's dipping down. This is lock number 18. Okay, so let's look at it again. We have 15. We connect the thumb, 16. Bring him up, 17. He releases the little finger. There's lock number 18. Okay, now the transition from lock number 18 to 19, we're going to use our partner as a shield against possibly a second attacker. I'll show you what I mean. I have Mr. Tony locked up. You can see the index finger pointing in towards the face. I have the standard S lock applied to him. This is lock number 18. Now, if Mr. Bob's trying to attack me, you can see I'm going to spin my partner and use him as a shield against a possible second attacker. Okay, thank you there, Mr. Bob. Okay, so watch. Right here, we have S-lock. I roll this over. You see how I'm doing that? The right hand is hooked inside the elbow joint. I'm going to throw my elbow over top, possibly catching him into the jaw with my elbow. Pull his arm across my body. Right from here, I'm going to apply pressure onto his elbow. The arm is straight. I'm letting my ribs rest on top of the elbow, and I'm pulling the wrist up, and he's feeling the pressure. Okay, so he should feel the pressure for 19 on his elbow. Once you apply the pressure on the elbow, now apply some pressure onto the wrist, and this will be lock number 20. So we have 19 at the elbow, 20 at the wrist. Okay, let's look at it again. S-lock is 18. We roll this over, pressure on the elbow, 19. Now we're going to compress the wrist. I'm going to push his palm and try to touch it onto his forearm. Okay, now while I'm doing that, I'm still keeping the ribs onto his elbow. So 20 is actually a combination of 20 and 19. Okay, we're taking it back to 15 again. Lock the thumb, 16. Bring him up, 17. He pulls that off. S-lock is 18. Here comes the second attacker. We use him as a shield. Now we're going to apply 19, 20. Now we're going to wrist lock him out. And as we do, we get rid of that second attacker. Okay, we're going to give him a front kick, get him off the mat. Okay, so let's look at it again without the second attacker. I use my partner as a shield. My ribs on his elbow. I'm applying pressure. Lock number 19. Push down on the wrist. Lock number 20. Now from here, the right hand is sliding up. I'm placing my thumb in between the punching knuckles, and I'm going to spin out to an outside wrist lock. And as I did that, all I did was a standard front snap kick with the left to get rid of my attacker. Okay, so let's look at that again. Here's the 15. Lock the thumb, 16. Bring him up, 17. He pulls that off to take away the pressure. So we S-lock him, 18. Roll him over, use him as a shield, apply pressure to his elbow, is 19. Pressure on the wrist is 20. Then we spin out with the wrist lock. If the second attacker was there, that's the point in which we're kicking him. Okay, let's pick it up from 15 again. We'll use Mr. Bob this time. Now, if you remember, Mr. Bob was not as flexible as Mr. Tony. So his thumb will not touch the forearm. Okay? The reason that we had the 17 bringing him up was if the thumb touched the forearm on the 16 and he didn't feel the pain. I'm going to give you another option from here. Let's say I have the 15. I apply the 16. Maybe he has a boot knife. He's reaching down to pull out the boot knife. We want to bring him up. Okay? You see, reach down and get your knife. So you can't do it. It's too much pain. Okay? Maybe there's a rock or a brick or some sand he's trying to get a hold of to throw in my face. But see, we bring him up. Okay? He can't get a hold of it. Maybe he's reaching down trying to get a hold of my foot. See, to sweep me out. Okay? So as he reaches down for the... See? We bring him up. Okay? So don't think just because the thumb hasn't touched the forearm, there's no reason to go into the 17. There's a lot of reasons. He's reaching down to get something. You want to get him up on his toes. The arm's not long. He can't reach down and get it. Keep that in mind. Okay, we're going to pick it up with lock number 20. We're going to make the transition to 21. The right hand, put the thumb into the back of the hand, grip onto the wrist with the 4 fingers. We're going to peel out. We're applying the left hand now. Okay, this is our butterfly wrist lock. You can crisscross these if you like, or you keep them side by side. We're going to peel him out. Now we have a nice outside wrist lock. This is move number 21. I'm going to release with the left hand, come underneath, hook this over with the crane, get him up off balance, okay? Single arm lock. So the 21 requires both hands. The 22 is just one. Now the 21 and the 22 are the same, identical locks that we did on the other arm, number 7 and 8. Okay, let's pick it up from the 6. Remember lock number 6? We come inside, we step out, there's number 7. Release with the right hand, hook inside. There's number 8. Okay, so 7 and 8 on the right arm are the same as 21 and 22 on his left arm. Okay, so watch. Here's 20. We peel out, outside wrist lock, 21. Now, release with the left hand, underneath, hook it over into a crane. Make sure that his elbow is higher than his wrist. You see that? The elbow of your partner has to be higher than his wrist. This is the only way he's going to feel pain. If it's not higher, if it's level, okay? Now, if he's stronger than me, he's going to reverse the lock. You see that? So it's very important that you get his elbow up high so he doesn't reverse it on you. Keep that in mind. Okay, now we backed up a little bit. We're back on lock number 8. Okay, his elbow is higher than his wrist. Now, for him to give us number 9, remember, he's coming in with the ridge hand strike to the side of our head, and we're going to block that with the left. Now, on this side, with the 22, instead of the same attack and doing the same thing on both sides, we're going to change it up a little bit, just for this side. To go from 22 to 23, to keep from falling, he's going to reach up, and he's going to grab a hold of my shoulder. That's going to keep him from going down to the floor. Okay, so look, I got my crane in there. He's going to reach up and grab. Because without that, let me take that off. This move alone, you see, can take your partner down to the floor. Come on, back up. So he's going to try to prevent that. And how he does it, he's going to reach up and get a hold of my shoulder. Okay, so let's look at it again. I have him locked in with 22. As I start to take him down, you see, he grabs a hold. Now I can't take him down. He still feels the pain from the lock, but physically, I can't take him down. So we're going to let go of the 22, and we're going to attack this arm for the 23. Now, how we're going to do this? Our left hand is busy. It's occupied with the lock. So our right hand is going to come over and pin his hand to our shoulder. He chose to put it there. We want to keep it there. So we're putting the right hand on top. Now we're going to release with the left, circle to the outside, and we're going to lift this up. We're going to create a small doorway. Now that's the same doorway when we went from the number 1, when he pushed down the elbow. You see that? Remember when we went through from here? We lifted him up for lock number 2 way back then? It's the same motion, okay? So watch. I have him locked up. He grabs his shoulder, prevent from falling. Just the right hand, trap his arm, his hand, keep it to our shoulder. We're still maintaining lock number 22 at this point. As soon as we let go of 22, we circle around, we pull this doorway up. Now, keeping his hand on our shoulder, we're going to go through the doorway and stand up. Now, you notice from here, you can see the elbow is pointing up, his wrist is bent. Can you see that? Can you get a close-up? See the pressure from here? If I stand up, there's a lot of pain. Put a lot of pain. It's very tight. Everything is stretched very tightly into his form. Okay, let's look at that again. Very painful lock. It's the same lock as number 2, except remember when we did the number 2, I wanted you to keep his wrist straight. Okay? Now, from here, our next lock is with his hand bent. You see that? It's trapped on top of our shoulder. Now, naturally, this is as high as it wants to go. Right there. You see? But look at my shoulder. It's much higher than that. So that's going to be up on top of there, forcing the elbow up higher, getting him up on his toes. Very painful. Okay? Let's look at it. Let's take it from the 20. There's number 20. He's feeling it on the elbow and the wrist. So we wrist lock him out. He's 21. Release with the left hand. We go underneath. We crane it over. There's 22. He feels he's about to fall, so he grabs on. Right hand traps his hand. Release the lock. Circle underneath. Walk through. Stand up. You see? I keep this locked in. This is lock number 23. Okay, let's look at that from a different angle. Lock number 22, flowing into lock number 23. We're starting to take him down. He reaches up and grabs a hold. That's going to keep him from falling to the ground. Now you can see my left hand is occupied with the lock, but the right hand is free. That's the hand that's going to trap and pin this to our shoulder. We don't want him to let go. Okay? Notice we still have lock number 22. Okay? Now, once we trap his hand to the shoulder, release 22 and immediately hook over top and circle. Now there's the doorway. I'm walking through the doorway, standing up. There's the pain. So everything's locked in nice and tight. Okay, now lock number 23 is a great lock. It's very painful, providing that you're taller than your opponent. Now what if you're shorter? Okay, I'm going to show you how to make lock number 23 work with Mr. Jim's help this time. Okay, he's a little bit shorter than me. As you can see, stand up straight. You see that? So I'm going to show you how he can make lock number 23 work on me. Okay? Let's say he has me locked in from here. He's about to take me off balance. I reach over, I get a hold of his shoulder to keep from going down. See how he traps the hand on top of there? He does not want me to let go. He's going to release the lock, circle over top, and walk through. Now right from here, if we hold still, see look, he's up on his toes. Can you see that? He's up on his toes and I do not feel the lock. Okay? He's too short to make the standard lock work. What he's going to do, he's going to let go with the left and reach up on the top. Now he's going to push up. Yes, you see? He's pushing up with his legs and he's pulling down, okay, onto my elbow with his hand. So he's pushing up and pulling down. Yes, right there. It's very painful, okay? Not too hard. Okay, good job. Okay, you see? So if you're shorter than your attacker, that's how you make lock number 23 work. The left hand comes up, locks on top, pulls down as you push up. You're compressing everything here, trying to touch it together. It's very painful. Everything's tight. Something's bound to rip. Now, there is another reason that your attacker may not feel lock number 23. You could have slipped up and missed the lock. Let me show you with Mr. Bob's help here. Have him locked up on 22. He reaches up, grabs a hold of the shoulder. He doesn't want to go down. Pin the hand to the shoulder, release, circle underneath. I walk through. Now the hand slips off. You see? My right hand was supposed to keep his hand pinned to my shoulder, but it slipped off. See how it slipped inside there? What we're going to do is we're going to push down on his elbow. That's going to start dropping his body down. Can you stand up from there?
No, sir.
So you can do it, okay? It's too much pressure. Got a nice arm lock, okay? A bent arm lock on my partner. I'm going to take two fingers. I'm taking the index and the middle finger. Keeping them together, reinforced. I'm going to put them underneath my partner's nose. I'm going to turn his head away and lift up. Very painful, very painful. The lock wants his body down. Pulling underneath of his nose wants to bring him up. So his body's actually fighting itself. He wants to come up, he wants to go down at the same time. See? Very, very painful. Okay, so let's look at that again. Let's take it from here from the 20. He's feeling it in the elbow and the wrist. I spin out. There's 21. Release with the left hand. Crane underneath. There's 22. He's about to go down, so he holds on. I pin the hand to the shoulder. But when I'm trying to get lock number 23, he's going to slip off the shoulder. He's going to slip out from underneath of my hand. Watch. I release. I go for the lock. And right there, it slipped off. Taking two fingers under the nose, lifting him up. Okay, let's look at this from a different view. Let's take him from this side. Grabs a hold of the shoulder. We pin. Circle underneath. As we're slipping underneath, slips off the shoulder. Under the nose, lifting up. You see, I'm torquing and turning. Lifting from here, just like that. Okay, now for a short review. We're going to pick it up from 15. I attach the thumb to the forearm, 16. Lock one to the small finger, bring him up, 17. He reaches up to the wrist and he frees himself from the little finger lock. Twist off with the left, bend his elbow with the right. Now we have S lock. It's lock number 18. Circle over top, setting his elbow underneath of our ribs, pulling up on his wrist, making sure that he feels the pressure on his elbow. Straight arm lock. This is 19. For 20, we're going to compress the wrist. Okay, 20, remember, is a combination of 20 and 19. He's still feeling the pressure on the elbow when we put the pressure on his wrist. Right hand comes in, we circle out, it's outside wrist lock, okay? Right here, we got lock number 21. Now if you notice on lock number 21, you see where his fingers are pointing? We can poke him in the eyes with his own fingers, okay? Release with the left hand. Underneath, crane over top, get his elbow higher than his wrist. This is 22. He's feeling himself going off balance, grabs a hold of the shoulder. We pin him on top, release the 22, circle over, create the doorway, walk under, lock number 23. Hand slips off, put the pressure on the arm, 2 fingers, reinforce, under the nose, push him away, get him up. This is 24. Now 24 is also a good shielding technique. Mr. Bob comes in to strike. You see? I have full control over Mr. Tony. I can place him anywhere that I want. Okay? Very good, thank you. So 24 is excellent technique using the attacker as a shield against possibly second attacker. Okay, let's make the transition from lock number 24 to lock number 25. Fingers under the nose, pushing the head away. Very painful lock. For whatever reason, we do not want to be on this side of our attacker. We want to be on the other side. Maybe someone's over here and I want to get a better view of them. We're going to go from his right side to his left side. Now, how we do this, we're going to have to loosen up the arm lock, okay, so we can slip easily out. What we're going to do to distract him while we loosen this up, remember the 2 fingers that's underneath the nose? As we loosen this up, we're going to claw his face. See, we're going from 2 fingers to a full face claw. Once you take all 5 fingers and dig in anywhere you can, whether it's the eye, the nose, the cheekbone, okay? Just be careful not to put it in your partner's mouth. You'll look like this, okay? Now, watch here. There's the 24. We claw across the eyes. The left hand comes underneath. We slip down to his wrist. Apply pressure, okay? It's a goose head lock. This is a version of the goose head lock, okay? If I get him to hold still, remember over on the right arm? Remember lock number 13 from here? You see? That's the same lock, okay? 25 on the left side, 13 on the right side. It's just a different way of doing it. From the 13, my arms are from the outside of his, on top. I'm pushing up with my bicep onto his tricep and pulling down on the back of his hand. Now, for the 25, our right hand is pushing down onto the back of his hand. The left arm is underneath, and it's key locked in. You see how this is reinforced over top of my wrist? I'm taking my stomach, and I'm putting my stomach onto his elbow. If I do not do that, see, I pull this down, there's no pain. No pain's involved. On this side, the 13, my bicep under his arm, pushing up. Okay? When I pull down and push up, he feels the pain. But on this side, we don't have the bicep underneath. Arms over top. It's key locked in. So see, pull down, there's no pain. But if I put his elbow into my stomach, you see, now it's pain. His elbow cannot slide down. It's stuck in there. I'm pulling down with my right. My left hand is reinforced over top. See, there's the pressure to make the number 25. Just a version of the goose head that we did on 13. Okay, now to make the transition from lock number 25 to 26, we have our partner in the variation of the goose head on 13. He's going to spin around in place with his free hand, his right arm. He's going to reach around, circle around my neck. He's going to try to apply chokehold on me. Show you what I mean. We'll use Mr. Bob this time. See, I have him locked up. Version of the goose head. This is number 25. Now watch what he does. He's going to spin around, throw his arm over top. He's going to try to put us into a chokehold. Now what's important from here is that his hands must not connect. If his hands connect together and he squeezes, okay, you're going to go out. He's restricting the flow of blood to the brain. Okay? If these cannot connect, okay, go ahead and connect them. Squeeze as hard as you can. See, it's not going to work. So if these connect, it's very difficult. Okay? So we keep these apart, and that's going to give us lock number 26. Okay? Let's look at it. Here's the 25. Now when he spins, I'm going to focus all of my attention onto his left wrist. Okay? This one does not concern me. Okay, squeeze as hard as you can just with this one. See? Does not concern me. This one, his left, that's what concerns me. If they lock together, he's going to choke me. If I let go of that, this can punch me. Okay, and I do not want either one. I do not want to be punched, do not want to be choked. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a wrist lock. Okay, this is a variation wrist lock in which, can you see that? I'm pushing and controlling the knuckle of his little finger. If I push and control that, he cannot join these together. Okay, now you remember 21? This is just a version of 21. Instead of standing face to face with my partner, now I'm side to side. Can you see that? When we're face to face, my thumbs are controlling his punching knuckles. When I'm on the side, it's impossible for me to get control of him that way. This is very natural movement, natural motion from here. You see, since I'm on this side, I'm on his pinky side. So we're going to control that small knuckle of his little finger, right where the little finger connects to the hand. Okay? We're pushing down on that. Throw that around the neck. Try to touch them together. You see? Cannot do it. Okay? Even with just the left hand. My thumb, can you see that? It's pushing down on the knuckle of the little finger. Try as hard as you can. Connect them together. See, you can't do it. This hand is free. We can strike with that hand. We can use that, okay, to your advantage. This is very important. You only need one hand to do this lock. Okay? Let's look at it. Here's 25. He spins. Here's 26. Okay? 26, just a version of 21. Now, to get to the number 27. Remember I said you only need your left hand at this point. The right hand's free to strike. But what I want you to do is to reach back and get a hold of his wrist. We're going to lift this up and duck out underneath. And look what we have. We have a crucifix lock. Let's turn him sideways. You can see that. Okay? See the crucifix right there? Very good. Okay. Okay, what you see right now is the back view of lock number 25. The goose head lock, that's a variation of number 13 on the right side. He's going to spin around, try to put me in a headlock. This is where I control the little finger, the knuckle of the little finger. Only takes your left thumb, pressure on there to control that. Try to touch them together. See, it's very difficult. Our right hand, going to secure the wrist of our partner. We're going to pick this up and we're going to duck out. We're going to wrap this up. I'm taking his right, looping it over top and around his left. This is the crucifix lock. Now if I get him to hold still, what we're doing is we're using his left arm, his left forearm, as a fulcrum to apply pressure and possibly break the right elbow. Push and pull. I'm going to push his left with my left, and I'm going to pull his right with my right. So there's your motion. This is making the crucifix lock work. Just the pressure. Now for your joint lock combination, we just want to apply enough pressure where he cannot stand up. Realistically, you're going to snap it all in one move. Okay, let's look at that again. The back view of 25. He spins. There's the 26. Pressure on his left wrist. Right to right. Duck out. Crucifix lock. This is lock number 27. Okay, now I'm going to show you what you can do with that crucifix lock. Notice I'm pushing on the little finger, preventing these hands from connecting. The right hand's going to reach up, secure the wrist. I'm ducking out, wrapping this up. There's the crucifix lock. His right arm is straight, his left arm is bent. I'm pushing the bent arm against the back of the elbow of the straight arm. If done with enough force, this is going to break the elbow. If he does not want his elbow broken, he has no choice but to flip and go with it. See that? Keeps his arm from being broken. Okay, good. Okay, back into 26. We're going to release with the right hand, secure the wrist, duck out, apply 27, crucifix lock. Just enough pressure to keep our partner bent over, but not flipping. Now we're going to move into 28. I'm going to release with the left. I'm letting his left go with my left. The right is still maintaining control of his right. I'm going to take the palm heel of the left hand, apply pressure against the back of the knuckles, trying to touch his palm to his forearm. Okay? it's a lot of pressure. Does not want to touch. This is the motion I'm taking. I want that hand to lay flat onto his forearm. I'm going to push and apply pressure. Now realistically, you'd hit it. You'd snap it and break it. Then the hand will lay on top. Okay? But for the joint lock combination, just apply enough pressure to make him tap. You see? This is lock number 28. Okay, 27 is your crucifix lock. I'm going to let go with the left, pull the left palm heel back. I'm going to apply pressure to the back of his hand for lock number 28. Now remember I said realistically we would hit that. What I want you to do, as your opponent starts to feel the pressure of the wrist lock, I want you to slip off. Replace the right hand with the left. As you do that, step up with the left, back with the right. Okay, did you see that? Just an in place stance change. Okay, watch again. I'm about to apply pressure for the wrist. As soon as he starts to feel it, slip off. Step up to the right with your left. Let the left hand replace the right. Step back with the right. Now, for 29, instead of doing the same lock twice in a row, I want you to take the knife hand, okay, the knife edge, okay, curved like a butter knife. I want you to take that, and you're going to strike in between the index and the middle finger of your partner. Okay, you're chopping in between there, trying to split the web of the hand open. Okay, right hand is pulled back. We're going to strike. See how the knife edge fits right inside there. Once we strike, I want you to lock on and grab a hold of that index finger. What we're going to do is, like you're stirring into a pot, we're going to rotate that around. You want the finger to rotate inside your hand. Once it's completed the rotation, lock back on tightly. Okay, watch. Strike the knife hand. Lock onto the index finger, rotate it around, okay? Applying pressure on this finger, pointing it back towards his face, okay? It's a single finger lock. Index finger is locked. I keep my thumb pointed out as an extension of his index finger. So my thumb is adding another 2.5 inches to his index finger. As I pull this in, you see what his head does? His head follows. So it's a pull and then a push. You're going to poke your thumb right into an eye. You can choose left or right. Does not matter. Okay, let's look at that again from the crucifix lock. He's locked up on 27. Release with the left. Apply pressure. As soon as he starts to feel it, we're going to slip off and do that in-place stance change. Watch. See? Now we're going to chop the knife edge into the web of the hand. Lock onto the index. Spin it around. There's our single finger lock. The thumb is pointing at the eye. This is lock number 29. Okay, let's recap. You have one lock to go before you reach lock number 30. That's the halfway point. Remember, the first 30 are standing up. Second 30, mat work. Okay, let's pick it up from 15. Lock number 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. He holds on. 23. 24, 25, he spins. There's 26, 27 is the crucifix, 28, 29, now for the 30. We're going to pull him in. You see how we're pulling that index finger? We're still keeping the pressure. But as we pull that, that's pulling his head. As we pull him in, we're going to palm heel strike him with the left to the right temple. We're going to guide his head underneath of our arm. Now, just as his head comes underneath the arm, we're going to release the 29. We're letting go of that index finger. Okay? Let's look at it. There's 29. I pull him in, palm heel strike. Guide his head underneath. And I'm going to wrap him up and choke for 30. Now, this is a version of guillotine choke. Okay? Standard guillotine choke. The only thing you have is the neck of your partner. Now, if he just stays here and lets me choke him, this will work. Okay, he's tapping on the leg. He feels the choke. But notice his right arm. Notice where it is. Realistically, if I'm applying this choke, look what he's going to do. He's going to strike me right into the groin. Okay, and that's for sure going to make me release the choke. So, with the 30, I want you to take that arm, the right arm, the one that's going to cause you trouble. The left one over there poses no threat. We're going to take that right arm, we're going to push it through. You see how we keep that pinned in there? So now we're choking, we're applying the guillotine choke, but we also have secured his right arm. Okay? That way it cannot come up in between the legs. Okay? Let's look at it again from this angle. There's the 29. We pull him in, strike to the temple, guide his head underneath. Once it's under there, we're going to release the index finger. I'm going to go from the temple to the arm so that I can push that over. You see how his arm? It's out of the way. I do not want it to come between the legs. So I push it through, wrap him up, lock my hands together. Make sure this is nice and tight, very secure. When I have it, I'm going to come up, choking my partner. This is lock number 30, variation of the guillotine choke. Okay, let me show you how that guillotine choke works. What you're doing, taking the bone of the forearm, you're placing it across the windpipe of your partner, okay, right across his throat. The head is trapped underneath of your armpit, so you pull up. You see that? You're pulling up with the bone into the trach. As you pull, the head cannot come up with it because the head is trapped underneath the armpit. So it's compressing. So if you see it's a very tight space in there, that's where their neck would be. Okay? Now remember I said, we'll use Mr. Bob here, with the standard guillotine choke, with both arms, see both of his arms are free. The only thing I'm controlling is his neck. So right now, I'm placing the bone right across the windpipe. You see how his head is trapped under the armpit? So I pull up against the windpipe. It's a very painful choke, okay? It's restricting the flow of air. Now, some of the chokes we do, we choke on the side of the neck, we're restricting the flow of blood. This one, across the windpipe, restricts the flow of air. So done quickly, you could crush the windpipe, you cannot breathe, you know what's going to happen next. Okay, so let's look at it again. Here's the standard version. It's locked in, and we pull up. Very painful choke. But remember, this arm is free, free to strike. We push that under, reinforce it with the other hand. So our forearm is still across the throat. The only thing we've done is we've taken his defense out of the picture. He does not have that hand to strike. Can you reach over top and strike with the other hand? Doesn't reach, okay? Can you kick your knee? Can't do it. So done quickly. Good. He's going to tap or else he's going to pass out.
Ready.
Okay, now I'm going to show you something very interesting about locks 15 through 22. Mr. Bob. From lock number 15, if we apply a little bit of extra pressure, we can take our partner down to the mat. You see, he's face down, he's flattened out. This is what we call prone position. This is still lock number 15. All I'm going to do is push down on the back of the knuckles. There you go. See, he's tapping. He feels the same pressure as if we were standing up. From the 15, our thumbs lock. The fingers lock onto the forearm. We squeeze together. Here's lock number 16. So we're squeezing his thumb towards the forearm just like you would squeeze the hand grip on a motorcycle, like the brake or the clutch. Okay, we're squeezing them together. Lock number 16. Now, we lock onto the little finger. We twist this away. There it is. That's a lock number 17. Now, as he starts to roll over and reaches up, see, he wants to pull off that hand from the little finger. Remember, it wasn't the thumb that was causing the pain, it was the little finger. So as he pulls that off, there's our lock. You see the S lock? So put your head down for a second so you can really see the S at this point. Remember, I take the index finger, point towards the face, right there. That's lock number 18. Now as I pull, watch how I push on his elbow. See? Took him completely around, 360 degrees, and he's right back down in the prone position. If I drop down on one knee, I can apply pressure onto his elbow. You see that? It's lock number 19. If I push onto the wrist, here's lock number 20. So we have 20 and 19. One knee down, one knee up. Now I'm going to apply my wrist lock for the 21. And as I stand up, that uncoiling pressure that he's going to feel, brings him right back up. Lock underneath from the 22, and then you can finish the series from there. It's very interesting. I want you to practice both ways. Practice 15 to 22 standing up, and 15 to 22 with your partner down, prone position. Okay, now we're back at the 15. We're going to apply a little bit extra pressure, get our partner down, prone position. Watch. See? I stayed with him, I'm over top. It's good horse stance. Apply pressure, I push down. Still lock number 15, applying pressure to his wrist. My thumbs are pushing onto his punching knuckles, trying to point his fingers towards his head. Lock number 15. Now I'm going to let the left hand slide off to the side. My thumb locks onto his thumb. My 4 fingers lock onto his forearm. I will squeeze the thumb towards the forearm. Okay, that's the same motion you make like a hand grip of a motorcycle. Okay, like the clutch or the brake. You're squeezing together. Locking this in. That's lock number 16. The right hand, the thumb, slips in between the ring finger and the little finger. Apply pressure to the small finger. I'm going to turn that out away from the lock. You see that? The lock's here. I'm going to turn the finger the opposite direction. Right here, now we have lock number 17. Now, as I bend his arm, causes him to roll over, he reaches up and grabs a hold of the wrist. You see, he wants to pull that hand off to release the small finger. That's what's causing the pain, is the small finger. So I'm going to release that lock, peel his hand off, apply the S-lock. Okay, S-lock's number 18. Put your head down for a second. You see that? You can really see the S here. Lock number 18. Now I'm going to go from the inside of his elbow to the outside of his elbow. See that? Spinning him around. Now he's back down in prone position. I'm going to use my forearm and elbow on the back of his elbow. Apply pressure. A straight arm lock. There's 19. He's feeling the pressure in the elbow. If I compress the wrist, now we have lock number 20. From here, the right hand slides up to his wrist. Spins out. I'm going to start my wrist lock. Can you see it from there? Both of my thumbs are pointing in the same direction as his fingers. Now as I stand up and unwind, he's going to come right up onto his feet. Okay? It's the pain that makes him do that. The only way he would not do that, if this came off and I had it in my hand. Right now we have lock number 21. Release with the left. Hook the crane over top. It's lock number 22. So practice 15 to 22, remaining standing, and then 15 to 22 with your partner down in prone position. Okay, let's recap 15 through 30. Right now we have lock number 15. We lock the thumb together to the forearm, like the hand grip of a motorcycle. Now we have 16. Add in the little finger, get him up on his toes, 17. He grabs the wrist and frees that hand. S-lock, 18. Roll him over, make sure we have pressure on his elbow, is 19. Pressure on his wrist is 20. Wrist lock him out, 21. Left hand releases. Underneath with the goose, the single lock, 22. He grabs a hold, he's trying to hold on. We pin, we snake over top, we walk through the doorway. There's lock number 23. We slip out, 2 fingers under the nose, 24. Make sure to get him up and make sure you put him in some pain at this point. Claw across the face. Reinforce this. Key lock this in. Apply the pressure. He's going to spin. Go for the headlock. Pressure on the little finger. Remember, just the left hand. Reach up with the right. Pull out. There's your 27. That's your crucifix. Left hand releases. Apply pressure. 28. Let it slip off. In place. Right hand pulls back. Strike the knife hand in between the index finger and the middle finger. Spin it around. Single finger lock. The index finger. Lock number 29. Pull him in. Strike with the palm heel. Guide his head underneath. Guillotine choke. That's lock number 30. Okay, there you have it. The first 30 of a 60-step joint lock. You're halfway there. Don't stop now. You have 2 tapes left, 30 more techniques. I'll see you back in the next 2 tapes.